Welcome to Travel Market Life, your companion for industry insights and professional business development. Travel Market Life. Join us by webcast, video or podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Independent Hotel Show preview. We're going to be speaking to Glenn Wallace, the event manager, and Sarah Duncan, ESG consultant from Sleeping Lion, as one of the moderators. The Independent Hotel Show, in partnership with James Hallam, welcomes hoteliers back to Olympia, London on the 16th to 17th of October for 2 days of networking, learning and product sourcing. Each year, the show brings together a carefully curated selection of suppliers to the independent hotel sector, providing the ultimate opportunity for hoteliers to refine their business and elevate their guest experience. Now this year, Travel Market Life is working in partnership, so I've got some fantastic announcements to bring to you very, very shortly. The innovation stage at this year's show is a must attend for hoteliers looking to hear about the latest innovations in design, guest experience, technology and much more. The hotel business stage at this year's event will be a hub of practical advice and actionable insights, building authentic brands, delivering world-class services, mastering hospitality recruitment, outsourcing F&B, and looking into the potential of applications like artificial intelligence. Now that's one you definitely need to join in because you get to see me in person. Yes, I will be moderating the session Real World AI, how to use the tech to improve your hotel. So check that out on Monday afternoon. On the Monday evening, the Independent Hotel Show Awards is in partnership with Preferred Hotels and Resorts, now in its 11th year, to celebrate hospitality businesses and hotel professionals in the UK and Ireland. Tuesday, Social Business Space. It is a Travel Market Life live takeover. Yes, we will be hosting 3 discussions. At 11:30, Hotel Revenue and E-commerce. At 1 o'clock, Recruit, Reward, Retain, Hospitality, the Place to Work. And 3 o'clock, Tech Stack for the Future, where we'll have a chance to talk to and hear from experts and then have facilitated networking where you can ask directly your questions and concerns related to any of those topics. So anyway, without further ado, shall we get on with the show and speak to our guests? Coming up now, Glenn Wallace, event manager at Independent Hotel Show, and Sarah Duncan, ESG consultant from Sleeping Lion. First, a quick word from one of our sponsors.
Travel Market Life.
Travel Market Life is backed by Haynes, a B2B marketing communications PR consultancy specialising in the technologies, travel, hospitality and property sectors. Create meaningful connections and visibility to grow. Haynes cuts through the noise to resonate with target buyers, decision makers and influencers. From contextualising your mission to positioning your value proposition, Haynes helps you address the issues that matter. Marketing, PR and social. Build profile, gain momentum, shape strategy with Haynes
Travel Market Life.
Hello there, Glenn. Thanks ever so much for joining us today. So tell us about what we can look forward to at the Independent Hotel Show London this year.
Good morning, Ryan, or good afternoon, Ryan. There's a lot going on. I won't be able to cover it all, obviously, but a few highlights will be, I think the important thing to remember is we represent independent hoteliers, and by doing that, we want to represent unique products and services for them. So the team have searched the world. We've been to many far off countries to find resources and products that represent them. So that's what we want to do. We don't want the normal hotel experience. We want a unique and different one. So I think the team have done a really, really good job at sourcing those companies. So that's the first thing I would say that makes us a little bit different than your norm. I think one of the super cool things this year, which I've still got to get my head around, and I think you would probably agree, is the metaverse. Mm-hmm. So we have 11verse experience. Which is in collaboration with Wellbrook Hospitality. It's a beautiful thing, and it transcends you to this beautiful place. It's going to be interesting to see how it can be incorporated into future hoteliers' plans or what it looks like. But that's kind of where the conversation goes. Can it be monetized? Where's the marketing? What else can be done with it? So I think that will be really, really interesting, and I'm really excited to see what that does. And it's on a huge 6-meter wide LED wall, so it'll be extremely impactful, blinding. In fact, I should imagine. So you won't miss it at the show.
I mean, the event really has to evolve every single year. I've been going to the IHS now for about 12 or 13 years, and you can see that evolution. I guess the pandemic as well had to make you think about what was going to bring people back to these events and what was necessary for the independent hoteliers. How did that sort of help you really identify the best way to sort of cater for the so many vast requirements across the hospitality scope for independent hotels?
Well, I think the first thing is you've got to reach out to the community. You've got to ask what's happening with them, and that's what we've done. And obviously the metaverse evolved and it blew up, especially during pandemic, because people couldn't leave their rooms, so they had to have these virtual experiences. Now, it's not to say that it's as blown up as it was, but it's still very relevant and it's taking off. AI is really the big thing, but now AI is evolved, and that's starting to inject into the metaverse. We're expecting to see a massive sort of interest again and development of the metaverse. So it's not dead, as some people would have said, because Facebook, I know they lost a number of people because they weren't sure of the direction of where it's going. It's just waiting for its next injection of energy and money, I presume, to an extent. And then when that happens, we expect to see an explosion. And so it's best to be on board with it. I think some of the hoteliers are a little bit scared about it and what it means, but better to be an early adapter with all of these things. So let's see what comes.
I mean, I know that IHS, it moved into a second level as well over the last couple of years, and you've been really blossoming that area out and looking at how you can diversify that program much more. And so from those people who are returning to IHS, perhaps they haven't been for the last few years, what can they expect, and what advice perhaps do you also give to first timers?
So the thing that I think I'm trying to achieve, or we're trying to achieve, is we want it to be an immersive experience. So it's not just a sort of, here's your exhibitor stands, go speak to them. It is, I've got 10 features at the show, and each of these features, or a number of these features, will be complemented with a sound or a smell, just to sort of evoke sort of feelings of well-being or calmness. So I just want people to walk in and have an experience, as opposed to it just being seen as a place to do business. But the same thing will always be with this show. It is about the hotelier community coming together, and every year it gets bigger and bigger, and it's the independent hoteliers that this is one of the few platforms where they all really do turn up and come together and just basically catch up. I mean, it's almost sometimes that the exhibition is almost a byproduct of the meetings, but it works out well.
It is. I mean, because of the way that it's designed and the way you walk around the floors, the amount of times that I've got a few feet and I can suddenly stop and I'm chatting to someone else, and then I turn and I'm chatting to someone else coming in. Now, Sarah, you've been going to IHS for quite some time, and you're actually hosting the ESG Hub. Tell us about your excitement for this year and what you're looking forward to in particular.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting, I think, this year. So we have this ESG Hub dedicated really to education and engagement around sustainability and ESG. And we really wanted to create a space that was non-intimidating, because ESG is quite a complex area and people find it a bit overwhelming. And so we wanted to create a space that was educational and interactive, where people could come along and learn a bit more about ESG and sustainability, feel a bit more comfortable, ask questions about it. And we've got some really cool partners working with us on the hub. And we're kind of revolving the whole thing around the central theme of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And so even though we can't cover all 17 global goals.
17? Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah, there's 17 of them. What we've done is kind of cherry pick ones that we feel are really relevant to hoteliers. Things like general decarbonisation, so carbon reduction, plastics, biodiversity, which is something that all hoteliers can get involved in, mental health, because of course we've got the S in there as well as the E. And so we're highlighting areas that we think will be particularly interesting to hoteliers. We're also offering anybody that visits the space a free ESG audit with an instant report. So there's a lot going on.
Why is it that we should be really integrating this within our strategies today, and hoteliers need to get to grips with the ESG? Because this obviously there's so much going on in the world, but it's a big question, isn't it, for hoteliers?
Yeah, it's been around for a while, but it's suddenly getting real, I think, for a lot of hoteliers. And whether that's because they've reached their own conclusions around what's going on in the world and the impact their business is having on people and the planet, or whether that is some kind of external factor, such as the rise in more conscious leisure consumers, travelers, the increased ESG scrutiny from corporates, or pressure from employees. Whatever's sort of driving it, I think most businesses are now sitting up and thinking, for future business success, we have to start behaving more responsibly and ethically, and we need to start doing it right now.
Excellent. Now, I mean, you're also going to be moderating a number of sessions on the innovation stage, the big stage at IHS. I'm going to be hosting one, but that'll be on the hotel business stage instead, the slightly smaller one, people. But what discussions in particular are you looking forward to hosting there, Sarah?
So what we've tried to do is mimic the ESG hub by picking 3 topics that align with the E, environmental, the S, social, and the G, governance. So we're kicking off with a panel discussion around hotel accreditation to do with sustainability and ESG, which is a bit of a minefield at the moment, a bit of a challenge for most hoteliers. So we'll be trying to demystify that and looking at the various options that are out there and trying to help hoteliers find the right one for their business. Then we'll be looking at, in terms of S, social, we're going to be focusing on mental health, mental well-being. And the key area there is for leaders. So in the same kind of way as we sort of say, who cares for the carers, we're going to be asking the question, who looks after our leaders? And acknowledging that our leaders in the industry have had pretty torrid time of it in the last few years, and we need to make sure that they are fit and well for the future. And then the final one, the G, we are grappling with greenwashing.
Big one. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
The amount of press releases and news reports you see, a new question, and is this real or not? And I guess for independent hotels, it's, you see it much more with the large groups, but for independent hotels, I mean, that could really massively affect your public relations and your image.
Yeah, and reputation can be damaged pretty quickly if you are overclaiming or saying things that simply aren't true. And quite often it's down to naivety rather than premeditated sort of I want to lie to my stakeholders. So it's about we'll be discussing how to not fall foul to it through naivety, and the importance really of transparency generally in communication.
Wonderful, Sarah. Thank you very much. So back to you then, Glenn. What do you think is going to be some of the key takeaways for your attendees and delegates this year?
I'm hoping it will be, but the ESG side of things, because we put such a big push on it, and it's such a big interest and talking subject. I think that's going to be the big subject this year. I think we put more of a focus on it than we have ever before, and it does really. The subject does sort of filter through the agenda, as well as having the space for people to find out more about it. I think that's going to be a really, really strong part of what we're talking about. I mean, the other things, a lot of the other subjects feed into this as well-being and so on and so forth that we have on stage. But so ESG is just such a huge subject, but I think we have the experts there to answer a lot of these questions, and it's easy to find. And as Sarah was saying previously, in a sort of I don't know if confrontational is not the right word, but in an easy sort of atmosphere to sort of to have the conversations around.
I mean, it's essential. Whenever I've been speaking to hoteliers, particularly through our series Hoteliers Voice, it's about hearing from other hoteliers, leaders and their peers about what they've been doing and how they've been tackling and grappling some of these issues. And I'm obviously incredibly excited to be joining you guys this year. Travel Market Life by Haynes Marcoms will be running the social business space on the Tuesday. And we've got 3 sessions lined up, really focused on digitalization within hospitality, which again has been massive during the pandemic. So we've got 3 sessions, one hotel revenue and e-commerce, a second recruit, retain and reward, and finally the tech stack for the future, where we're going to be having a mix of discussion with leaders in their field, and then facilitated networking and discussions. And as you say, Glenn, this is much needed for us to be able to share best practice and be able to ask some of those difficult questions that we not necessarily know how to phrase in an email, or we often forget halfway through a conference call. Now, when it comes to the Independent Hotel Show, I know that you're expanding as well. Tell us about some of your plans.
We are indeed. So obviously, as you know, we have the London show, we have the Amsterdam show, and later this month we will have the Miami show. And then next year, we are looking at launching in Munich to cover the Alps regions, so the chalets and whatnot, and then watch the space. Potentially something in the Med would make sense. So let's just see where that goes. So yes, we are expanding, and the demand is there, hence we're expanding. The concept works, and there are independent hotel shows, not just in the UK, around the world, and they need to be represented, and we're answering the call. But also just from a point of view where we're speaking to the hoteliers, they just want more engagement with the community. So we here in London are also doing a lot more community-based meetups. So we call them member club socials, basically. So we just did one in Manchester, did one in London, and we're hoping to expand that out as well to reach out to the community and get them talking as well.
And IHS is free to attend. All you got to do is go to a website and register, as simple as turn up on the day and hey presto. Glenn, Sarah, thank you ever so much for joining us today. It was great to get those insights ahead of the event in October, and I look forward to seeing you there in person.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
For more, go to Travel Market Life. The music sensation by Zach Nelson is reproduced under license from Storyblocks. Travel Market Life is a Haynes Marcoms digital marketing agency production, serving the travel and technology industries.